September 24th, at the Huawei Autumn Full Steam New Product Launch event, Richard Yu, Huawei's executive director and chairman of the board of directors of the Intelligent Automotive Solution BU, officially announced the launch of the Zhijie R7. The new car comes in 3 models, Pro, Max, and Ultra, with prices ranging from 259,800 yuan to 339,800 yuan. At the event, Richard Yu stated, "The Zhijie R7 is priced very competitively, but we lose 30,000 yuan on each car sold." This comment sparked widespread debate. Some questioned the logic, arguing that if the cars are sold at a loss, why continue selling them? Selling a car at a loss of 30,000 yuan? Well, then why sell it at all? If you stop selling, you won't lose money. Stop pretending to be a victim. Consumers aren't forced to buy your cars. I was quite interested in the R7 initially and thought it would be a hit, but after hearing Richard Yu say it's losing money, I completely lost interest. He said the R7 would lose about 30,000 yuan per car this year, hoping future production would break even. It's laughable. What costs are you factoring in? And why would anyone sympathize with your loss? Consumers don't care about your production costs. Isn't the R7 overpriced? The Envo L60 starts at 149,900 yuan, and the Zhijie 7X starts at 229,900 yuan, both cheaper than the R7. Are they any less capable? You're already overcharging, and now you're saying you're selling at a loss? This wasn't the first time Richard Yu mentioned selling cars at a loss. At the Harmony OS smart car launch on August 26, when unveiling the new M7 Pro, Yu mentioned that the previously announced price of 249,800 yuan meant losing close to 30,000 yuan per car for the base model. In June, at the 2024 China Automotive Blue Book Forum, he also revealed that all Harmony OS cars priced under 300,000 yuan were being sold at a loss. With competition among similar models intensifying, Huawei held 3 launch events for the Zhijie R7 within a month to maintain market attention. Last year, the first car jointly developed by Chery and Huawei, the Zhijie S7, started strong but quickly lost momentum. After relaunching in April with a price cut and added features, its sales remained underwhelming. Public data shows that the S7 sales dropped to 425 units in August, down from 1,541 in July. A 72.4% month-on-month decline. This figure not only fell short of market expectations, but marked a continuous 3-month drop. In August, the S7 ranked 21st in the sedan sales and 11th in the annual sales, with its overall monthly rank at 233rd and annual rank at 107th, indicating weak market performance. Given this rocky start, the success or failure of the Zhijie R7 is critical for both Huawei and Chery. The Zhijie R7 is positioned as a pure electric sports SUV, jointly developed by Huawei and Chery. It's the first coupe SUV from Harmony OS Smart Drive and is equipped with Huawei ADS 3.0 Advanced Intelligent Driving. Chery's chairman, Yin Tongyue, mentioned that over 10 billion yuan have been invested in the Zhijie project. However, since its pre-sale and launch, the R7 has not met market expectations. Currently, it doesn't rank among the top 10 in terms of attention within the mid-range SUV category, and its order volume is far behind that of Tesla. The future of the R7 looks uncertain. Additionally, some consumers who pre-ordered the R7 have complained about too many sales strategies. One car owner from Guangdong said, "I ordered the 802-kilometer range model, but I had to choose the 100-kilowatt battery for an additional 20,000 yuan. What kind of trick is that? Isn't the 802-kilometer range supposed to come with a 100-kilowatt battery? And you're charging 6,000 yuan for the purple color? This kind of trickery just makes people dislike it even more." In reality, the losses aren't limited to Zhijie R7 sales. 2 other electric vehicle companies closely collaborating with Huawei have also reported significant losses. BAIC Blue Park, a subsidiary of BAIC Group, has been losing money for the past 3 years, accumulating over 19.1 billion yuan in losses by mid-2023. Ceres, another partner with Huawei, recently revealed in its financial report that it loses an average of 14,000 yuan on each car sold. Notably, Richard Yu also mentioned during the launch that the Zhijie R7 is positioned to compete with Tesla's Model Y. However, challenging Tesla won't be easy. According to reports from the National Business Daily, Several other models, including the Xpeng G6, Zhijie Hypetech HT, and Denza N7, have also been announced as competitors to Tesla's Model Y, but none have achieved monthly sales exceeding 10,000 units. China's car market has been steeped in losses for a long time. Data from the China Automotive Dealers Association shows that the ongoing price war in the first 8 months of this year has led to a cumulative retail loss of 138 billion yuan in the new car market, with many dealerships on the brink of financial collapse. Amid this backdrop, a wave of 4S dealerships has closed down.
The collapse of 4S dealerships could be described as an avalanche. Behind me is a long-standing Ford dealership in our area, which officially closed its doors this summer. The showroom you see now belongs to Ito, but it used to display Peugeot and Citroën models. When the traditional gasoline car brands couldn't hold on any longer, new energy brands quickly moved in. I believe scenes like this are just a snapshot of what's been happening in the auto industry over the past year or two, and they can be seen all over the country. Companies like Pangda Automotive Trade and Guanghui Auto Service, big names in the automotive industry, have also been struggling with operational collapses and delisting from the stock market. If these big companies can't make it, the smaller roadside dealerships stand even less of a chance. If you look at the sales ranking on car information and trading platform Dongchedi, you'll see that many of the top-selling brands today have ditched the traditional 4S dealership model altogether. Brands like Tesla, NIO, Ito, Xpeng, and Li Auto all rely on direct sales. Meanwhile, Toyota, Honda, Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Audi still depend on dealerships.
The collapse of 4S dealerships highlights the severe financial difficulties in China's auto industry, as traditional dealership models are increasingly under threat. This has been the biggest news in the automotive industry in early 2024. Overnight, more than 80 4S dealerships in Guangdong went bankrupt, with over 40 closures in Dongguan alone. It's not just about the dealerships shutting down. The entire automotive supply chain has been severely impacted, leaving many people unemployed. I mentioned before that 2023 would mark the start of a major reshuffle in the auto industry. Throughout the year, new car prices kept falling, and by the end of the year, discounts on Porsche models had reached several points. We're talking about a discount of hundreds of thousands of yuan on models like the Mercedes S-Class and GLS. These used to be profitable for dealerships, but now even luxury cars are being sold at a loss. How can these 4S dealerships survive when high-value cars are being sold at such steep discounts? This industry, which is already asset-heavy, is now severely battered and struggling to keep going. The continued drop in car prices has led to the mass closures of 4S dealerships, especially with luxury brands offering significant discounts, undermining the traditional dealership profit model. In a report published on September 23rd, the China Automotive Dealers Association highlighted that dealers are facing extreme liquidity issues due to the ongoing price war, pushing many into dire financial straits. The association has formally submitted a report to the government, outlining the significant losses faced by auto dealers in new car sales, the risks of operating on a cash flow deficit, and the growing threat of broken supply chains. The two main issues at present. First, low consumer demand and high manufacturer wholesale pressure are keeping dealership inventories at elevated levels. To reduce financial strain and borrowing costs, dealers are forced to sell cars at heavily discounted prices. Second, the ongoing price war has exacerbated the problem, where the more car dealers sell, the more they lose. At the same time, they face the pressure of meeting loan deadlines, causing a cash flow crisis and an increased risk of financial chain breakdowns. Dealerships' current liquidity is now stretched to the limit. According to the association's Market Pulse monitoring data, by August of this year, the gap between purchase and sales prices for dealers reached a high of negative 22.8%, which is an increase of 10.7 percentage points compared to the same period last year. Experts' analysis of the data shows that in August, the overall discount rate in the new car market stood at 17.4%. From January to August this year, the price war caused cumulative retail losses in the new car market amounting to 138 billion yuan, severely impacting the industry's health. The association is urging relevant government departments to pay close attention to the financial distress and closure risks facing auto dealerships, calling for temporary financial relief policies to prevent systemic risks in the dealership sector. According to local media reports, since the beginning of this year, dealerships overwhelmed by the price war have been increasingly falling into financial difficulties. In September alone, 2 dealerships were reported to have either failed to register new cars or had their dealership agreements terminated by their respective brands. One such case involves GA Group, a high-end car dealership business, which was reportedly struggling with a broken financial chain, leaving it unable to issue qualification certificates to customers or make overdue payments. This led a luxury car brand to terminate its dealership agreement with GA Group. On August 28th, China's largest car dealership, Huawei Automotive Services, was delisted from the Shanghai Stock Exchange after its stock price traded below 1 yuan for 20 consecutive days. At the time of delisting, its market value had shrunk to just 6.5 billion yuan. Huawei has repeatedly acknowledged in its financial reports that the price war has had a profound impact on the automotive dealership industry, placing further pressure on the company. Earlier reports from Zhijie indicated that dealerships are facing operational crises due to the price war, with their loss margins continuing to widen. In the first half of 2024, the proportion of dealerships operating at a loss reached 50.8%, with only 35.4% of dealerships remaining profitable. This marks a significant increase in loss margins compared to the previous year, with the average loss per dealership in new car sales reaching 1.78 million yuan. Deputy Secretary General of the China Automobile Dealers Association, Lang Shuihong, stated, "Terminal sales prices are far below wholesale prices, and the price disparity is severe." During the first half of the year, 1 in 2 dealerships reported losses. Since the second quarter, the price war has intensified, trapping both manufacturers and dealerships in a downward spiral, with profits being continuously eroded by relentless price cuts. Despite the challenges, the overall car market continued to grow in the first half of 2024, with a penetrative rate of new energy vehicles steadily increasing. However, with frequent price adjustments and car trade-in policies, subsidies have been diluted by the price war, causing more consumers to adopt a wait-and-see approach. As a result, new car sales have experienced month-on-month declines. Amid intense market competition, frequent price wars, and efforts by both brands and dealerships to meet sales targets through aggressive discounting, the automotive market has witnessed rare high-frequency and large-scale price adjustments, especially from the second quarter onward as demand began to weaken. Lang noted that, since the second quarter, with a severe price disparity, some manufacturers have provided dealers with upfront rebates without any sales performance assessments. This has somewhat alleviated the financial pressure and losses. Additionally, some deferred rebates were included in this year's operating performance, artificially improving the dealership's financial results. Without these upfront rebates, Lang explained, the dealership's actual operating conditions would be much worse. Investigations show that new car sales have made a significant negative contribution to dealership profits. With losses continuing to expand, the average gross profit per store has significantly shrunk compared to 2023, particularly in the new car business. The average loss per store in new car sales stands at 1.78 million yuan. Even for profitable dealerships, single-store profits have declined sharply year on year. In this investigation, several investors and operational managers from dealership groups highlighted the immense uncertainty in the current market. Imbalances in production and sales have led to cutthroat competition, overly ambitious manufacturer targets have worsened dealership inventory challenges, and frequent price cuts and disparities are creating a vicious cycle. The investigation revealed that only 28.8% of dealerships managed to meet their half-yearly sales targets through aggressive discounting and sacrificing profits. Meanwhile, 33.3% of dealerships failed to meet even 70% of their sales targets. With the Chinese Communist Party pushing hard for rapid development of NEVs, this has led to significant overcapacity. On April 26, the Jiangsu Province Intelligent Connected Vehicle Innovation Center published a report titled Analysis of China's Current Automotive Production Capacity and Its Causes. It stated that China's top 20 passenger car manufacturers have a combined production capacity of approximately 35 million vehicles, accounting for about 70% of the total, yet the average capacity utilization rate remains below 50%. A utilization rate between 80 and 85% is considered healthy. A rate above 60% ensures basic business operations, while a rate below 60% indicates severe overcapacity. The report noted that in 2023, China's passenger car production capacity was nearly 55 million units, but only 26 million were produced, resulting in an overall utilization rate of less than 50%. Since 2019, the utilization rate has fallen below 50% and has continued to hover at that level. Data released by Gasgoo Auto News, an information platform that reports up-to-date automotive news in China, indicates that the utilization rate for China's passenger cars in 2023 stood at 47.5%. Earlier this year, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz both visited China and raised concerns about China's overcapacity in the automotive industry. However, the Chinese government has flatly denied these claims. Due to the overcapacity, Chinese automakers have been fiercely engaging in a price war since early 2023, with the competition becoming more intense as the year progressed. According to data from Bloomberg NEF's intelligent mobility analyst Jinghong Liu, the average price reduction for Chinese NEVs increased from 6,700 yuan in the first quarter of last year to 16,000 yuan in the first quarter of this year. This has brought the weighted average price of NEVs almost on par with traditional gasoline cars, with 2/3 of NEVs now priced lower than their gasoline counterparts. In the future, we don't know how many issues will arise in the automotive industry. For instance, if our companies try to make hybrid vehicles, they'll fail. Why? Because electric vehicles don't need an engine. It's not just the engine. They won't get the chassis, braking, or transmission right either. Although the government is providing subsidies for now, that doesn't mean it will work out in the long run. There are still a lot of risks with NEVs that we don't fully understand. First, who will bear the cost of massive infrastructure needed? For every 100 kilometers, you need a charging station or a battery swapping station. This enormous infrastructure, should automakers bear that cost? Take Li Auto, for example. Can they handle it? It's not their responsibility, is it? Second, who knows how big of a problem battery maintenance and replacement will be in the future? We're already seeing automakers go bankrupt. Promising lifetime battery replacements. What kind of promise is that? How can a company, only 7 or 8 years old, guarantee a battery replacement for an 80-year-old customer? That's just irresponsible because these promises haven't been carefully thought through, and they can easily lead to companies' demise. With intense competition in China's automotive market and changes in the broader economic environment, several joint venture automakers have recently announced factory closures and layoffs in China. For instance, Dongfeng Honda plans to close a factory with an annual production capacity of 240,000 units this November. In June, Dongfeng Nissan shut down a small plant in Changzhou, Jiangsu. The Sino-German joint venture, SAIC Volkswagen, plans to close its Nanjing factory by 2025. This plant currently employs over 2,000 workers and primarily produces models under the Passat and Skoda brands. SAIC Volkswagen intends to transfer some employees from the Nanjing plant to another facility in Yizheng, Jiangsu, which focuses on producing the Lavida model. Recently, SAIC Volkswagen told Chinese media that the Nanjing plant continues to operate as normal, and production and sales of the entire Passat lineup have not been affected. The company said it plans to release a series of new products in the future, covering both traditional gasoline and NEV models. Based on market demand and product planning, the company will adjust and plan its production bases accordingly. In July 2023, SAIC Volkswagen also announced the permanent closure of its first factory in Anting, Shanghai. This plant mainly produced small models like the Volkswagen Polo and Skoda Fabia, with production now consolidated at the Yizheng plant. On September 25th, former Chinese politician Sun Guoxiang, in an interview with overseas media, stated as electric and new energy vehicles rise, the traditional gasoline car market is shrinking, posing severe challenges for many traditional automakers trying to adapt the new market demands. The pressure to transition is particularly intense for joint ventures like SAIC Volkswagen. Meanwhile, Chinese domestic EV makers like BYD and XPeng have risen rapidly, engaging in fierce competition with foreign brands. Under the dual pressures of competing with emerging domestic firms and international brands, joint ventures are losing market share and finding it increasingly difficult to operate. Sun also pointed out that China's automotive industry has been facing overcapacity for years, with many factories operating at low capacity utilization rates. As labor costs in China rise, some foreign automakers are gradually shifting production to markets with lower costs. He added that the Chinese government's heavy subsidies and policy support for NEVs have added even more pressure on traditional automakers, particularly those joint ventures that failed to transition in time or invest enough resources into the NEV sector.